Ladies and gentlemen and ladies, thank you for coming out tonight. And on a belated note, everybody, I hope everybody has had a happy Mother's Day. Either your kids are already grown or you're expecting, with the exception of one individual. I really do mean I hope you had a happy Mother's Day. Very restful and joyful. And of course, I'm going to say hello to everybody. Kathy Niffen, thank you very much for coming out. Find Summer's Truth, Pat Wicks, Miss Justice, of course, Cosplay, and Miss Carrie all at the same time. My mods, of course, always thankful for your support and help. Peas in a Pod, Janice, Teresa Nelson, Vanna Reeves. Thank you for coming out. Excuse me if you heard that. I apologize. Dolores Hayes, thank you for coming out. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to encourage you to hit that like button, subscribe button, and notification bell. That way you do know when I go live. It is not often that I go live. Usually it's only 2 to 3 times a week at the maximum. More likely 1 or 2 days a week is the more likely. Adoptionscams.com, thank you very much for coming out. We have good news, we have bad news, and we have awful news to talk about tonight. And they all involve that one person that I hope that actually had a miserable Mother's Day yesterday. Because she has had 6 children taken away from her, and 1 child is still missing. Yes, that's right, folks. That's Candace. Tonight, we are talking about Candace and things that are revolving around Candace. Oh, no. Radmila Rickson, let's call it right. Her name's not Can. Her name is Candace. Somebody trying to give her a cutesy nickname is not worth not worth it. This is Mother Dearest to the extreme. Thank you, Carrie. You already put that up there for me. Miss Justice, you have it right. She is not a mother. As I like to say, she is a donor. Vanna Reeves said it too. She's not a mother. She is an egg donor. She doesn't want to be a mother, in my opinion. Peas in a pod, you're exactly right. Let's not forget that when she got together with Don Wells and moved to Tennessee, they never intended to have children. But neither one of them were smart enough to wrap it up or to get on the pill. Just being honest, folks. Heads up, that's exactly how I feel tonight. It's going to be brutal honest tonight. So everybody's warned. Ms. Carrie Lawson has it up already. This content and discussion is opinionated and allegedly. It's going to be brutally honest. Hello, Sid. Who said what? I missed you earlier. KDU, thank you very much. Carrie, you're right. But let's also, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, poor them. They weren't taught. Nobody told them about. Look, Vanna Reeves, you're exactly right. You're exactly right. They come from an era where in schools they were told to they were told that saying no is the best option. And in reality, if you look at all the baggage when you're a teenager, you're not prepared for that can come with let's say making adult decisions. And you don't know the outcome of what they are. I'm not going to say blindly it's education because my goodness, the way the education systems are now, children in third grade and younger are given that education now. So if they were in tune or in touch with what their children were being taught, which they should have been, but let's remember these are the Wells. They most likely were not. Mimi Jean, thank you very much for coming in. Diana P, thank you also for coming in. And before I go further, I do want to mention Replay Crew. If you thank you very much for watching and leaving comments on the lives. I really do appreciate that. Hopefully, there was a new person that started made a comment today that they just found my channel and today and were going to try to join us live. I hope they are with us tonight. Gymnastics 101, thank you very much coming out. Let's not forget that this is also a man, term used very loosely, that would go get all dressed up, say he was going to work, but actually take a day off, go all the way down to Knoxville. Now, granted, okay, it's really not that far, but it's still going all the way down to Knoxville. And what is that Dolly Parton movie? Best Little Something in Texas. Some kind of house in Texas. Yeah, Don Wells knew where every single one of those were between here and Knoxville. Yeah, Miss Justice, I apologize. That was I was playing it up a little bit of not saying that word. BB Diamond, there you go. Thank you. Carrie said the actual word, but the kitty house works. Thank you, BB Diamond. Diane P, thank you very much for coming out tonight, and Miss BB Diamond as well. Oh, Teresa, we are going to take we are on a trip tonight. Let me tell you. I'm just making a comment about Don Wells at the moment, but we're going to go back to Candace in just a moment. Would they a gigolo that's guy, isn't it? And then what would they call the female version? I don't know. I'm just asking because honestly, I don't know on that one. So Candace has started her own YouTube channel. And we've mentioned the channel name was being as mentioned in a BB Diamond. There, that's a good question. Yeah, that many names for the same person, but that's not what we're focusing on tonight, folks. The title of the live tonight is how did I word it again? The truth has no problem being questioned, but a lie does. We've all caught Don Wells in so many lies. The mountain behind their home isn't tall. Is less tall than the stack of lies that he's told. Miss Justice. Wow. Okay. Mimi Jean, yes, we have talked about that. We have talked about how on this channel we were the channel. Let's just not forget that we were the channel that used things like phrasing like a horse house, and or we use the example of the, if you've never seen the movie, the cargo train from the movie series Divergent. To describe things that were coming down the road and being 2 to 3 months ahead, not bragging, just saying we were 2 to 3 months ahead of at least where other channels were and what they were talking about. Lip Lock No More, I did see you come in. Thank you very much for doing so. No worries, we were just really starting to get started, so you're all good. So one of the questions I posed was, why is Candace starting her own channel a good thing? Well, here it is. The only thing you're going to see. Hello, Pit Mom. Thank you very much. Super loves Akita. Thank you very much for coming out. The only thing you're going to see of Summer Wells, hear of Summer Wells, is slides. Little clips, little videos of photos that are like I had done with the video for Uvalde, the school massacre. That was the school district's fault and the police's fault as much as the actual actor that did that. That's all you're going to see. That is all you're going to hear of Summer on that channel. Every single time Summer has been brought up when Candace is on a panel. Get this, folks, because this is going to be leading to a big deal. So let's get this down right here. Every single time. Thank you, Miss Justice, for putting that up. Every single time Candace goes on a panel, starts talking and having a conversation, as soon as Summer gets brought up or a difficult question gets brought up, conveniently, and I mean seriously, conveniently, she all of a sudden has issues with self-service. If you were watching another channel that is live just 10 or 15 minutes ago, maybe more like 20, Don Wells and Candace Wells was live on the panel. And wouldn't you know, they were having absolutely zero internet issues, cell service issues. And from what I could see, It sure didn't look like the Tri-Cities to me. I don't know what kind of work they're doing. But being at a red light stuck behind a chicken truck isn't something you get that happens in the Tri-Cities area. They are not in Beach Creek. They're not in Beach Creek. Just a little while ago, I heard in their voice acceptance. They were talking about the boys very generally. But the acceptance is that they are not pursuing the boys any longer. CP cosplay, that's very well possibly where they could be, but I can tell you they are not in Tri-Cities. Hello, Lorraine. Thank you very much. Palm Patrol, thank you. I didn't say hi to you, believe us, before I believe, but I did see you in here. Veritas, hello to you as well. Veritas Aquitas, and also Markella, thank you very much for coming out. Right. Miss Justice, they could be anywhere. But we don't have chicken plants. We don't have chicken farms in the Tri-Cities area. So they're not in the Tri-Cities area. Gregory Worth, thank you very much for coming out. I appreciate you hitting that subscribe button. Going back to what I was saying about how it is, why is this so important? Why is this so relevant? The channel, once Candace goes live, it is going to be a very obvious statement, but understand that as soon as somebody tries to question her about, hey Sean, thank you very much, and Kimmy, thank you for sending people over to us tonight. Thank you very much. I know you were live. I hope you did not cut off your live early for me. I do appreciate everybody joining me though. Right. Markella, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Southeast Alabama, Southwest Georgia. And I believe there's also just outside of Chicago is probably the major four areas for chicken plants and chicken farming. Thank you, Liplock. I appreciate that. The important thing about Candace starting her own channel and going to be able to go live is we're back to how they're going to try to control the narrative. They're going to try to control information once again that's coming out about summer. As soon as you go and question Candace of anything about summer, about a real question, as they're going to shut it down. That person is going to get blocked. I can already see it's happening. It's the whole plan of what is going to go on. Their writing is on the wall, and it is plain as day to see. You're right, Kathy Niffen. When she joins a panel, as soon as they start bringing up questions, legitimate questions about Summer Wells, and not these BS questions about a memory box and who has the memory box, and holding it over somebody's head that I have the memory box. It's all a distraction. It is all a distraction. Bingo, Miss Justice. Bingo. This is exactly what I'm leading up to, and I was going to actually say that exact thing. This is going to land up being one giant shit show where you're only going to have, and I'm going to name some creators' names here, folks, so be careful. Because if they find out that I'm naming names and I'm saying this is not going to be a good thing, my mods are already ready. They already know, they've been prepared all along. That we might start getting some people to come in that are actually out to try to troll. Okay, but the only persons that are going to be able to get into that and actually ask a legitimate question are Daisy from the Crazy Farm and her crew of people, which want you to believe their research blindly and not accept anything else as the truth. So that's Christine, whatever the numbers are. Then you got Jenkins, you got her, and whoever joins them on panel. Then you got White Boy Radio or whatever his name is. Hello, Butterfly Kisses. Thank you very much for coming out. And you have, I believe there's one other creator that kisses their butt. I've changed my opinion on on a person. I've changed my opinion on one person. Hello, Ruth. Thank you very much for coming out. And I'll be honest, it was the moment that she challenged Don Wells on a live. Miss Jody Sue Brown, if you ever hear a word of this, I apologize that I did not understand you for a long time. You've always had Summer's back. Just could not see how you were doing so. Jody Sue Brown, former neighbor of the Wells. Pit Mom, I'm not saying she's clear of it. I'm not saying she's innocent of it. I'm saying where I stand right now. I see how she's always had Summer's back. Her actions may have been questionable. You can sit there and say, it doesn't make sense. And I still sit there and scratch my head and go, how does it make sense sometimes when I hear about what she says? but she's had summers back. Sugar Mama, thank you for coming out tonight. I just saw you pop up in the chat here. I think, and I still believe, there are 4 individuals that are going to land up with charges related to Summer Wells in the end. I still stand firmly, and I'm not saying it's going to be this upcoming grand jury come June 1st, but I still say this is going to event when anybody gets charged is going to come from grand jury turning true bills. This effectively what the Wells are doing is their own version of Bonnie and Clyde. Now, granted, Bonnie and Clyde went and went around robbing places blind. But let's look at what Bonnie and Clyde, what Don Wells and Candace Wells are doing and have done. Every single time that a state has gotten involved in their kids and taken their kids away, they've run as fast as they can. Don has the history of being Clyde. Exactly, Kathy Niffen. The Ray, thank you very much. That's interesting. Absolutely, it's the truth. But look back at Don's history since he was a teenager. That's exactly what he's done. Any sign of trouble, he turns tail and runs. While Bonnie character, or Candace in this situation, has been a willing participant, much like Bonnie was, she's only following her quote-unquote dream man that is supposed to be so better than other men, but has guided her into the turmoil that she's in now. LeBlanc no more. I'm not saying that she's 100% innocent. I'm not saying that at all. I still believe there is issues that have to be looked at and with connections with anything and everything that happened on Ben Hill Road. But what I am saying is that because of what she's done to stand up to Don Wells, if you remember, it was a week ago Sunday. There was somebody in the chat room, and I don't remember who it was, and I'm not trying to point out this person. There was a person in the chat room that said, I would like to meet the Wells one day. I kept insisting and saying, no, you do not. They're trying to be very refined of what they do and don't say, and what they do and don't do. Kiki's Eyes, thank you very much for coming out. And it was about to get bad. And man, did it get ugly. Within the next 5 days, it got extremely ugly. And just as much as I sit here right now, that little blow up was only about 60% of the truth of who the Wells are. %60 of the truth of who they are. Thank you, Carrie, for putting that up there, because it's important to remember that even though we're talking about the parents and what the parents, why these their actions right now are so important, so relevant. Even though they're egotistical being, their egotistical actions that they're doing right now are selfish, self-servant of Don Wells and of Candace. Their emotions are actions out of an emotion of jealousy. She was jealous of Summer Wells, the attention that Summer got from Don Wells. And then when Summer went missing, the jealousy doubled. Because nobody bought into the, oh, poor Candace. Everybody said, oh my God, poor Summer. Oh my God, those poor boys. Michelle Voki, thank you very much. Absolutely, yes. There was even jealousy of Rose Bly. This is what I'm saying, folks. Listen, this is that whole big thing that I was saying I was leading up to about Candace's channel and why it's going to be so important. Because you're going to witness them start a new life without kids, without the responsibility, without the burden for them, because it really was a burden to them of having kids. It never was a joy to them to have kids. There's much to be learned in the next few months. If you heard the news earlier today, and I 100% believe this is the truth, I don't believe that these text messages are made up in any way or doctored in any way or anything like that. But there's been information coming out on Kathy the Friend, I believe her channel name is, about text messages. We talked about how Don Wells complained that the boys were living high on the hog. And we briefly discussed, we didn't go into the detail. We just simply said, there's two different ways to be able to use that expression. One of them is negative, and the other one is what the boys are experiencing. They're being well cared for. They're being treated as children should be. Don Wells just 45 minutes ago said they must be living near a school or a park or being taken to those locations because they're getting involved in sports and activities and they're enjoying it. I said there was a moment, or you could hear in their voice, acceptance. Acceptance. Acceptance that of what? The boys are in a better place than you could ever provide for them and are actually encouraged to be proper boys. We've kicked around the idea, and I'm sorry the way I'm phrasing it because this is really an unfortunate if this is true. We've kicked around the idea that if Summer's disappearance was to lead to something important, it was to break the cycle that the family had for generations, and I do mean on both sides of the family, for generations, had been raising their children in. Huntress, exactly. This is exactly what I'm saying, folks. Huntress said it exactly in a different way, but it's exactly what I'm trying to say. This breaks the cycle. This makes it be that the boys can grow up and to be men. Productive men. Don't worry, we're coming back to Candace, Miss Candace. We have not forgotten about you yet. I'm not done making a point about you yet. The new lies that are being told. And yes, there are new lies. The biggest one that is being told is that they want to keep hold of 110 Ben Hill Road. They want to be there when Summer returns. They hope that Summer is still alive. Abso-freaking-lutely lies. They don't want Summer to be found. They have no interest in it. I believe it was Doug, and that asked Don Wells this question. And I know I keep going back to a few pieces of information that other channels have done, but they're important in pieces of information. I mean, like crucial pieces of information. Don Wells was asked that, or it was said on a live that he was part of, they were both part of, that he had hoped, now this being Doug, I believe it was Doug, he had hoped that somebody would just simply drop Summer off. Simply drop Summer off at like a hospital, police department, fire department. In some cities and towns, they have a separate ambulance department from the fire department. Drop them off. Drop her off. Just drop her off. Pull over the side of the road, open the door, let her out, and get on and take off. Just drop her off. And Don's response, which is it tells everything. Seriously, this tells everything. His response was, "I hope not." Thank you, Carrie, for putting up there. This, I agree 100% that all persons that we talk about are presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Our legal system is set up to protect them and give them rights and protect their innocence if they are innocent. By doing so. You know, peas in the pod, that's an amazing point. They could have contacted their family to take Summer. Why didn't they? You know, they simply, in my opinion, they simply didn't want a reminder. Just like they went and packed up all of her things within a month of her disappearance. They just simply wanted to take a giant eraser and do their best to erase her and every single memory, every single item, every single detail of Silver Moon, Utah Wells out of their life. They simply wanted to erase her. So I see the chat is talking about the rumor. The rumor that the property is for sale. The answer is not yet. I'm not going to go into details because the person that made that, actually, let me go ahead and find it. Bear with me 1 second here, guys. Brooks, I know you posted it on your, if you're still with me, I know you posted it on your community page. Do you remember the source of that information about 110 Ben Hill Road? If you guys haven't seen this, I'm going to show you something as soon as I can remember where it came from. Bear with me just a moment, folks, because I'm going to show you something that I'm not sure you may have or haven't seen. And if I can find it real quick. There it is. Okay. If you have not seen this before, and I do owe Brooks Timeline and Lies a thank you for this, because I was gifted a membership to her channel, and she posted this on. This is from another channel. She posted this on her community page for her members, so that's how I found out about this information. But it comes from the original source of this is Lisa K. Ruiz. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing this person's name right. Bear with me a moment, folks. I appreciate your patience with me. Take a look at this. For those who have not seen this, this is the yearly tax assessment for 110 Ben Hill Road. Appraised value is $38,000. So what that means is that the taxes are based on that price. There's an assessed value. It's less than that. It's only $9,500 for the purpose of the actual taxes. It's 25, would be 0.25% of the actual value, which is what $9,500. If you can't read it, I'm trying to make it larger so you can. The tax rate is 2.3177, which equals $220. It's a $10 interest, totals $230. Watch what happens when I scroll up. When I scroll up, Hawkins 2022 delinquent property tax notice. This was due October 1st, this past year. They've not paid their property taxes, according to this. If they've not paid their property taxes, they cannot sell the property until they make right with the county. Pit Mom, the value of property out in Beach Creek area is not expensive. It is not expensive at all. It is what you do and how you develop it that makes it worth any value. There's property that is across the road and up Beach Creek just a little bit, and I don't mean it's more than 0.2 of a mile up Beach Creek Road from them, that is assessed value is over $1 million. No, this is yearly. Pit Mom, this is yearly taxes. Cornbed Mafia? No. Why would No, that's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is to address a rumor that the Wells are trying to sell 110 Ben Hill Road. They can't sell it until they take care of their taxes on the property. This has nothing to do with a tax assessor doing anything to Summer Wells. Please, let's keep that straight. This only has to do with selling this property. Pit Mom, you're right. But again, Beach Creek Road, Beach Creek community is not about the property itself. This is 11.4, 11.2, something like that, acres of land. If this was developed and used correctly, it would be worth more than the property that's across the road in less than 0.2 of a mile up going towards Rogersville. That is worth over $1 million. And I believe it's actually worth somewhere about $1.25, $1.5 million. Has a very well maintained property, gorgeous house on it, and it just everything is so well kept. It's not expensive to live in the Tri-Cities area, is what I'm trying to say. When I first moved into the apartment I lived in, compared to where I was living before, and I'm talking about probably within 2 hours drive time, the value of the property and expenses cuts almost in half, probably about 60%. When you come from a different state to Tennessee. She didn't pay all of that. Baby Diamond, she didn't pay it. She wasn't working. She couldn't afford it. This, Carrie, thank you very much once again. This is what matters in all of this. Is that Summer Wells is the victim. The only victim. And everything that that happened on June 15th, 2021, and every single thing that the parents have tried to make this out to be since then, the victim still remained Summer Moon Utah Wells. Teresa, proof of what? Exactly, Kathy. Exactly. And don't give out any information about where you live. Please, anything more than that, because somebody could if they're sleuthy enough, and they could dig around and find that. So be careful of what you're saying about what you pay in rent. I've lived in places, and granted, I've paid less in rent in a month, and I've paid nearly 5 times as much in a month for rent. Bailey TT, thank you for coming out. I see that comment. Thank you. I've lived somewhere that you could pay 5 times as much in rent. And if it weren't for former in-laws, we would have, when I was married, would have had to pay that much. When everything comes out in the end of this, and there will be an end of this, I still believe, and I cannot get past, there's going to be 4 individuals that are going to be held accountable with some sort of charges related to Summer Wells. And yes, they are tied to Ben Hill Road. At least as far as I can see and think of. The lies. They continue to say, we want Summer found. No, they don't. They continue, they say they are not selling the property. I guarantee they are. It's just a matter of time. Part of the acceptance of what is going to happen with the boys is a major step in that. Yes, BB Diamond 4. I've been stuck on 4 since almost the beginning of what happened to Summer Wells. From I would say it was August that I started saying there's gonna be 4. Betty Smith, you're welcome to say that anytime here. I do say I apologize to Jody C. Brown for what I have said, but I'm not here to change your opinion. As long as the county doesn't put your house up for foreclosure, $230 is not much for taxes. If you pay that off, you can quick deed this to anybody. Or you can make a part of that you are going to take whatever you may make on this property, because goodness knows if it's being assessed at $38,000, there's got to be a reason. Good night, Kimmy. Thank you very much for coming out. And Dumplings, I did see you in here. Pug Mom, hello, how are you? I just didn't say hello to anybody as well lately. Unapproachable Light, thank you. Yes. I don't have names, so please don't ask me names. I just get a gut instinct feeling that there's going to be 4. And I believe it's going to be something like somebody's going to have the chief charges, and then there's going to be conspiracy type charges that go along with it. And the people are going to get those as well. So that's why I say I believe it's 4. Right? Lip luck, right? That kind of explains a lot when you go and sit there and go, why it was about a year ago, why so many people were from California were just up and moving to Tennessee. And they were overpaying for everything in Tennessee. I mean, like monstrously overpaying for property. Because property in Tennessee is not expensive. It's not expensive. Forgive me, folks, if you hear me opening a soda bottle, it's because I'm drinking some soda, and I apologize, so bear with me just a second. Now, don't get me wrong. You do have the tourist areas. You do have big city areas. They are worth quite a bit more. But out here in Northeast Tennessee, or if you go south of Nashville about an hour and a half to where somebody help me in the chat if you know country music. She was famous for wearing a hat that always had the price tag on the hat. Something Pearl. I can't remember her name. I'm just being honest. I can't remember her name. But if you go out to where she actually was born and raised, properties is not expensive. There you go, Carrie. You and Flo and Carrie, thank you very much. Exactly. Minnie Pearl. If you go out to where she was born and raised, which is about an hour and a half south of Nashville, it was not expensive. Land is not expensive. Right. Where some are 1-800 TBI fine. You're right. Taxes do vary from state to state. And we're going to move on from taxes after this. But overall, the value of land is not expensive. It still all boils back to being Summer Moon Utah Wells. And the news that's coming out today, if it is true, and I believe it is, It's bravo for the boys to stand up and say, we don't want to go back to our parents. For them to realize that there is a way and a path for them to be showing the love that a parent should be showing their children, and for them to be treated as children should be treated, for them to recognize the difference of how they were treated and how they're being treated, and say, we need this better life. Candace and Don leaving 110 Bound Hill Road, going on the road and living in a hotel, just as they are, is them washing their hands of everything that happened in Tennessee and in Arkansas and in Wisconsin. But here's the problem. They're washing their hands in mud and tar. Anything and everything they are trying to be rid of is never going to leave them. It's going to be tied to them forever and a day. They're going to slip up. They're going to slip up. This is why I'm saying that Candace's new channel, her channel, is going to be important. There's going to be a point, instead of all these little tidbits that you have to search for and pick up on, it's going to be located in one place. It's going to be that you have to go and subscribe and be a member and be and or get invited to be part of their panel. Remember a few months ago where Don Wells and the Meteor manager was saying that they're going to do a pay-per-view basically about Don Wells' life? What do you think this channel is going to be about? It's going to start off with, any time and every time that you try to ask a legitimate question about what happened to Summer, what happened on June 15th, you're going to be blocked. And then there's going to be a complete breakdown. Lori, have a good night. So what kind of work are they doing that they're going to be making? Oh, I don't know. That's got to be what, $115, $120 a night for a hotel room? What kind of work are they doing to be able to afford that? Dumpling, you're exactly right. It's why she refuses to talk about Summer. And this, you're going in the direction I'm going to be finishing up with here in just a moment. A few more moments here. I wasn't going to be very long tonight. It just information hit me last night. This whole entire concept of what I'm talking about like really hit me heavy last night. Candace refuses to talk about Summer. I was saying earlier tonight, there's a jealousy issue that only Candace experiences. There's a jealousy issue and we all know jealousy is deep and dark. Jealousy leads people to do things they would not normally do in their normal state of emotional state of being. It plays with your mind. It plays with your emotions. When you put both of those together, you lose all sight of you lose all sight of any sort of reality, logical mindset. It is no wonder that Candace stopped communicating with the police. The police wanted, and probably still do want, Candace to come in for a third interview. Hello, Lisa. Thank you for coming out tonight. Do you remember the guys that? Do you guys remember that? It's probably August, September-ish. Right before they did the Dr. Phil interview business, and they met with the behavior analyst team. They have their own YouTube channel. She quits in the middle of the interview and said, "This isn't helping me any." The number one thing that Candace fears, and is probably why, again, a reason I'm using probably, is this is my opinion on this. But once you hear this, it's going to make sense. They kept pushing her. They kept pushing her to come in for a third polygraph, an interview. That leads me to believe that they were under the belief Lorraine, that is your choice. I cannot, and I'm not going to stop anybody from joining me. You can also block that individual so you can't see their comments. It is also the reason why she stopped communicating with the police. They were pushing her to come in for a third interview. Something about what she said in her first and second interview, or the first half of her first interview, however you want to look at it, never made sense. It's the only reason. All in flow. Don't worry. I will take care of that privately. I know what that's about. Something Candace said never made sense. A lot of people talk about and try to make an issue out of why the 911 calls were never released. There is a discrepancy in information that is in there. I am totally of the belief that this is 100% true. There's a discrepancy of information that's within those 911 calls that came in on June 15th. And that is going to be the key to everything. In time, we will know what those 911 calls hold. But we must remain patient for those. I stand firmly on that. I believe that the whole issue, while other people may go talk about it was this, it was that, or whatever they want to put out there, I firmly believe it had everything to do with jealousy. Yes, exactly, Liplock. Again, am I getting predictable around here or something? Because everybody goes and says where I'm about to go. And guys, don't think I'm offended. I think it's freaking awesome that we're all saying on the same wavelength, that you guys get exactly where I'm going, and it's the most logical and I think that makes the most sense. Liplock is referring to, if you guys don't know, Carrie does put up a description about Summer Wells, and that is what TBI put out there. When it comes to the information about what we know to be truth, we are 100% Team TBI around here. TBI has been on top of it. We want to know one way or another, whether it is demise or rescue, recovery or rescue. We don't. We talk about one, we talk about the other, mainly with the recovery more than the rescue, because statistically and logically, it makes the most sense at this point. Liplock. All right, I got to put that comment up there so other people know what I'm laughing at. That's a good one. Somebody likes to go swimming, huh? In the end of everything, the first 24 hours of Summer Wells being missing, and Carrie puts up there every once in a while with saying Summer Moon, Utah Wells. 6/15/2021. She was 3 feet tall, weighing 40 pounds. And also puts a description of her outfit out there, according to what TBI puts out there. But as of recent statements by the parents and the evidence of this memory box that has Summer Wells stuff in it, it is extremely possible. It is plausible that not one of the 6 descriptions that they gave out in the first 24 hours was ever accurate. Not one of 6. Whether it be her ages 4, 6, or settled on 5. Or the fact that she changed her outfit 3 different times. And the one that they finally settled on the description was possibly not even the outfit she was what she was wearing at the end of the day. Rodmilla Rickson, I 100% agree with that. It was deliberate. They knew exactly what happened to Summer, and they didn't want anybody looking or finding a correct description of her. You're right. Kathy Niven, you're right. Sorry about that, folks. BB Diamond, bingo. Bingo. It wasn't until Robin, about 4 to 5 hours after she was, excuse me, it was 3 hours, my apologies, 3 to 4 hours after Summer had been reported missing, that we finally heard that the law enforcement had a reliable picture of what Summer looked like not long before she went missing. BB Diamond, what is that one about being called to the watering hole early in the day? I have not heard that one either. Sorry, folks. I'm just catching a comment here in the chat, and I wanted to see what was going on with this. I know it was a question to Lip Lock, but it seems like it's a good question about this. I've not heard about this as well either. from what I can tell, lip lock, no more. And this goes back to that 5-hour video I had done a while ago, more like 6-hour video, whatever time was, where I took a deep look into the SDA church. They are, they're very much like, I believe it's, while they have some fundamental differences, they are very close to the ideology of Jehovah's Witness, where you don't do celebrations, you don't do pictures and things like that. But although they did have that one of Rose hanging up in the house, it's for some strange reason they don't like to have that kind of stuff. And it's not like anything doctrine written or anything like that. It's just they just don't like it. And that's fine, Lorraine. I have no problem with that. Email me. We'll talk about this privately, okay? I don't record my. Not even StreamYards is recording that I'm aware of. Yeah, Jehovah's Witnesses and SDA Church actually have a few very similar odd practices. I'll put it that way. It's not like doctrinal things or anything like that. It's just they have their own weird, funny standings. There's no other way to put it. I really have no good word for it. And that's probably what it is, Lip Lock No More. Honestly, that probably, I didn't get that far back, but it's probably what it is and that where it comes from. Nine Lives Mama, thank you for coming out. And we agree. We 100% agree. That's part of the, if you were listening earlier, that's part of the description when I was saying long ago that the property was no better than would have been better off used as a horse farm. And I'm not talking about like a good stable running place type of. This is not anything to do with actual horses, other than it may have a feed shed on it and a place for people to stop and feed and house their horse for a night if they had to. But I wouldn't consider it to be anything worth long term. Aha. Okay, you and I will have to talk about that sometime, Lip Lock. Bear with me a few moments. We'll have to sit down and talk about that. So going back to what Nine Lives Mama said, it has the reason I call it a horse farm is more. It's not the correct wording. You remember if you're from the South, you know what a trading post is. If you're from the North and you study history, you're probably more aware of trading posts if you live in New England states. They're the only two places that a trading post actually stuck for a long time. Everything else, because they were major cities and everything was so close together that you just went to the local store. Just like you would see a local store on, if you ever watched, what is it? The Waltons or Little House on the Prairie. Those stores that they depict in those two TV shows are more like what I would say is what you would find as a trading post. And in this particular case, the trading post is not of legal substances that were being exchanged. And it wasn't just, it was all things that were, right, find Summer's Truth, a bartering system, exactly. But they did have nefarious intents up, and I'm going to leave it at that because it can get very deep and dark, and that's not what tonight's live is about. But there is videos that I have done on that before. Lisa, it's okay. You're good. You're good. Tonight is about uncovering some truths, especially related to Candace Wells' new channel and why it's actually going to be important. And that's really what I was focused on tonight. And some of the things that are being said that are and aren't true. Oh, I have to share some information with Liplock later that you actually will enjoy. You'll get a little bit of a kick out of Liplock. I'll email you and let you know what I'm talking about. Mimi Jean, you're exactly right. But there's a key word in there. He runs. Whenever shit is about to hit the fan, proverbial fan, excuse my expression, but it's the truth. He runs. Carrie, there you go. There you go. Don runs, Candace hides. Started off tonight, or at one point tonight, I said that every single time Candace gets asked a question about Summer, she conveniently all of a sudden has internet issues. What do you think is going to happen when she's running her own live? Cosplay. How true. How true. Sugar Plum 69, thank you very much. I did see that you subscribed tonight. Thank you. I do appreciate that. Brings me to a point to let you all know. Somebody was making this point earlier that I do not, and I put this out there, that when you subscribe to my channel, I would love to see my channel be over 1,000 people. And it's for one reason and one reason only, to prove that what I tell you, I stand behind. When I say that I will never, ever hit that monetization button that some other channels have. Now, granted, and I give you that I do not hold it over them, and I do not have an issue with them. I do not have issues with channels that do monetize, but I do not feel that is my place, not only because of my job, but also because of and legal issues tied to my job of doing so, but also because I do not feel that it is my place to make a penny talking about a tragedy of what happens to a minor. Dumpling, I appreciate you saying something, but um, I'll handle it. That's all I'm going to say publicly, okay? Not trying to be a boring channel about not being all creative and not being all, I have members and this, that, and the other. And I have members only lives, but I don't hide what I have to say behind any walls. What I have to say is for everybody. Well, Dumpling, I'm not saying I'm boring, but I mean like boring as in I don't get all through all the creative and I'm not all the flashy creative type, and or I spend time making intros and outros. That's what I mean by boring. I just don't have the time of day usually to do so, and I don't think about it when I have a day off, so I don't make them. It's just me. We come here to talk about a missing kid. Yes, Kathy Marsh, that's where we said earlier we believe they are in Arkansas. Thank you very much. I know I did say I believe they were in Chicago or up near Chicago, but it is Arkansas. You're right. Drama may go ahead and bring attention to a channel, but that should be short-lived attention. Dumpling, I apologize to you about the other night that I joined and I came across as being a little bit rude when I did first joined your panel. And I didn't intend for people to run away like they did. But at the same time, some of those people that are creators that were on your live are all about clicks and views and not about Summer Wells. I appreciate that, Dumpling. Live like you know more. Sometimes you're right. Sometimes you are right. Kathy Niffen, exactly. And we're getting to that point where I was just about to start saying we're going to be wrapping up. And I've been giving you guys time to talk and interact with you guys because where I may miss something earlier, and I want to make sure that everybody knows that I do thank you for coming out. Huntress, I do appreciate that. I like talking about Summer Wells just to make sure. And if I join a panel or I join a live and they're talking about Summer Wells, I have the hardest time keeping my mouth shut. I was on another panel, Kimmy's Lounge, one night in the past week. And I was asked a question when I joined the panel, and I just went, ugh. And everyone on the panel goes, "Oh no, please, we're not going there tonight. We know, we got it. You got just by that, they knew there was something going on." And then I was building up till tonight. Even back then, even though it didn't really hit me till last night. Summer Moon, Utah Wells, born 6/15/2021. No matter the distraction that is going to be coming out of Candace's new channel, we must keep focused on the one person that matters. Summer Moon, Utah Wells. Guys, I want to thank you for coming out tonight. Lip Lock No More. I will email you, or I'll try to find your email. I think I still have your email address. In fact, if you don't hear me by tomorrow, please email me, or if I'll try to catch your live to say hey. Guys, stop. Guys, stop. I know there's a couple channels that no longer get along with each other. You used to get along with each other. We got to leave the differences at the door, folks. I'm not calling anybody out. I'm not singling anybody out. You got to leave the differences at the door. Guys, seriously, the proof of what I'm the proof of what I'm saying tonight is I've always said 100%, as it was mentioned a little while ago. I said it. If I said it once, I've said it at least 50 times, or close to 50 times. It's about how many lives I have. Be careful who you listen to. Some of the channels are nothing but a distraction. Some of the channels want nothing but the truth of Summer Wells to be put out there. This is a channel that I want nothing but the truth about Summer Wells. As much as I do say I believe that this is going to land up being a recovery, not a rescue, I pray that I am wrong and that does land up being a rescue. But I have a hard time believing so. Thank you, Liplock. I appreciate that. Exactly, Liplock. No more justice for Summer. Justice for Summer. I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. I know it's a day after Mother's Day. It is 10:35, 10:30 at my time, East Coast time. Do you know where your kids are tonight? This is even more so important the day after Mother's Day than any other day. Reach out to them. No matter how old or how young they are, reach out to them. Let them know that you care. And if they're still under your roof in your house, give them an extra hug. Give them an extra kiss tonight. Thank you for coming out and listening to Conversations Living Room. My name is RJ, and I'm out tonight. Have a good night, all.